So in the previous video, I showed you how to complete the 4 CSS style rules that are required for this applied color harmony assignment. And once you're done, your page should be live on the web, and it should look like this, although of course instead of grays, your page will demonstrate analogous colors that you've chosen, an analogous color scheme that you've created using the Peloton.com site. But there's also a bonus that's built into this assignment, and in this second video I'll be taking you through the process of creating style rules that will change the color of hyperlinks using what are called pseudo classes. And of course, I'm sure you've been on websites where the links change as a result of people hovering over them. For example, here you see that the blue changes to gray when you hover over it. And on some websites you see even more changes happening, like the stevespence.com site. We've got that orange without an underline, and when you hover over it, you see it changes to more yellow orange with the underline. So these are relatively simple things to achieve using cascading style sheets, and that's what this bonus is all about. So the steps involved in creating pseudo-class selectors are identical to those, or very close to those, involved in creating tag selectors like the one that affects what the contents of p tags. So we'll go back to Dreamweaver and get started. So my 4 rules are already there. I need to create a selector that will change the look of hyperlinks that are just standard, and that's the pseudo class a::link. So I use the new CSS rule. In this case, I'm going to need what's called a compound selector, and that's a::link. And again, this rule is going to go into home.css. When I click OK, I get the same rule definition window as always, and in this case I'll change the color of the type for a::link. And for that, I guess I'll use, for the purposes of this demonstration, some shades of, let's just pick these. Alright, so that's CC3300, and the short code for that. So I'm going to click OK, and I see that the links in Dreamweaver change to that color. So that affects regular links, but what I also need to do is change links that the color of links that the browser has visited recently. You've probably noticed that the default is often to change those links to a kind of ruby or dark red versus the bright blue link, which is the default for this kind. So to change visited link colors, I'll need a new CSS rule. Again, it's a compound. It's a::visited in the home CSS window. I'll click OK. And again, category type, there's the color. I'll make that slightly darker than the default. And click OK. And you may or may not see any changes as you're making these more sophisticated selector options in the browser window. You might, in the Dreamweaver design view, you may need to load the page in the browser and actually to see all the changes that you've been creating. So the third and final one, as is listed here, is the a::hover pseudo-class selector, and that will change the color of hyperlinks when the cursor hovers over them. And this one you definitely won't be able to see in design view. But we simply go back to Dreamweaver, use new CSS rule, change that to a compound, and this is a::hover in home.css, type color, maybe I'll use that kind of burnt orange, and click OK. So I've now added 3 new selectors to my style sheet. And as I said, they work just the same as any other selector does. They're just targeting different elements of the page. And you'll see that those are all listed right here. They start with the selector, And inside the curly braces, we get the rules. In this case, just the change of color. Okay, so once I've done that and saved all my changes, I can once again click on the 3710 folder, use the blue put arrow, and once the new version is uploaded to the server, I can go back to my browser, find a Lockbox website tool, type in my Swan username, and then click refresh just to make sure that everything's seen. I see those colors, which are the dark, slightly darker version for visited websites, visited links, and I see that they now change state, in this case just the colors, when I hover over them. And every link in the document will take those changes because it's looking for anything that's inside an A tag. And that will earn, those changes will earn you the bonus.